So Mother's Day is coming up. I thought I'd make a quick video and I want to talk about my mom's rare gift. So I was at a Vietnamese grocery store one day and my mother was doing grocery and I was sitting in the car doing nothing, probably taking just relaxing. And whenever you take your car to a dealer or you get your oil change done, in this case it was from Jiffy Lube, or it can also happen when you go to a dealer and they usually put a sticker on the driver's seat, or like on the windshield in the corner, about the date when the service was done. So I thought, you know what, my mom has this rare gift, so I thought I'll test her. So my mom came back, and as soon as she entered the car, I out of nowhere popped out the question, "Hey, when would you do our car maintenance?" And and she didn't even break a beat. She said, I even forgot when it was, but without breaking a beat, she said, "Oh, it was March 5th, 2020," and I was blown away because it was the exact date, and I think it was March. I mean, and it matched. If I remember correctly, it was somewhere around. It was in March 2020, but and she does that all the time. She has this way with dates, and because she always writes it down in the calendar. I was reading about the nuns who keeps detailed diaries. Their memories are tend to be better than regular people. And of course, I don't think she has hyperthymasia, kind of like Mary Lou Henner. 60 Minutes did a segment about Mary Lou Henner, someone and some other related people. I mean, other peoples with hyperthymasia who recalls everything with perfect precision, like to the details, and they tend to be obsessive. Like Mary Lou Henner, like arranges her shoes in all this neatly arranged order, like with like a little bit of, not a little bit, kind of like OCD disorder, not disorder, like very OCD, and she has and they're called hyper. Well, they're alleged to have. Well, they're not alleged because 60 Minutes they don't joke around. They do. I mean, they do a thorough background check. They put it to the test. They do the test for days, and they get verified by the UC. In her case, I think it was by an UCI doctor. And the TV show Unforgettable is based on her, about a detective who has photographic recall of everything. And it's called HSAM, highly superior autobiographical memory. So I don't think my mom necessarily has highly superior autobiographical memory, but when the need arises, like it comes incredibly useful when they're filling out forms, or in a dentist's office, when they're doing resume, whether they're doing anything, or when the doctor asks you, like, when was the last time you had this, and even when I ask her, like, out of nowhere, I ask, okay, July 6th, 1997. She would know, and even if she doesn't know, she can pretty much hone it down, and just by talking for a minute or brainstorming in her head, she'll pinpoint what happened on that day, and especially if it was a moment, and even it doesn't have to be something momentous or memorable, but she kind of zeroes it in. So it's not like magic. It like boom, she snaps her finger and the memory comes up to her psyche, from her psyche. But it happens very methodical way. Like she it's kind of like it's arranged in her brain in some weird way. I'm sure the calendar taking habit helped her a lot. Um, and yeah, she does it all the time, and especially she remembers what she was wearing for some reason. She doesn't remember what was the headline because her interest is not in newspapers or TV headlines, so she wouldn't know what happened on that day, or the external events, political events, news events, but she will know her specific uh, episodic recall of that day, what she was doing. And it's incredibly helpful when filling out forms and everything. I mean, but she doesn't show off to. I mean, she could, but like especially she used to know. She knows the phone numbers. She's good with phone numbers, people get impressed sometimes, and it's kind of deteriorating. It's wearing off because of her phone. She relies constantly on her phone, so she doesn't use those muscles. So that's another thing. If you want to improve memory, you gotta use it. It's use it or lose it. If you rely on entering the number in your phone, like even me, And I've been searching for searching to get photographic memory for a long time. I don't even know if it's possible. I think you're probably born with it or not. I don't think you can develop it. You can probably activate it in some way, but still, it's not gonna be natural, like a natural born savant or something. But yeah. So um, the phone number, it's use it or lose it. You have to use it, and yeah, and what I was gonna say. Yeah, so you have to use it, but even for me, like I forget what I was. I lost my train of thought. And also, Erdish once rattled out in his book. You know, Paul Erdish, the number theorist. It's not pronounced Erdosh. It's pronounced Erdish. You know, the Erdish number. And he once impressed one woman. He said with the 10 numbers, like rattled out 10 phone numbers, and the woman said, I was to me it was more impressive than the fact that he was a mathematical genius. So there. And she also remembers to the detail every price of everything she buys, like to the grocery. Like for some reason the numbers, she's good at numbers, dates, numbers, phone numbers, and especially the prices of. She'd do wonders in price tag if she knows the prices of all the prices, right. If she knows all the prices of the things that they're featured and showcased in the show. But yeah, and this because I mean, and you know, I'm not saying people sometimes might think she's penurious or very, very, yeah, very economical and conservative, and it is true, and probably that's why she's obsessed about it, and that's why it happens. That's why it sticks in her memory more. And just like she's obsessively thinks about, takes note in the calendar and thinks, ruminates about past events, about what happened on that day when this happened. But to her, it's very natural. She doesn't force it, and I tried to videotape her to like impressing her. I mean, but obviously people could say, "Oh, she's making it up," but I know it's not making it up because it has been. Because when I fill out the forms and other stuff, it's extremely helpful. So, and I mean, if I was her, I would go to carnival and do tricks. I mean, but again, she only remembers her life, not anything else. I think it's pretty nifty gift to have. But and I mean, I've been searching for the holy grail photograph memory all my life, and I didn't even know my own memory. My mom has a near photograph recall, and obviously it's not like that, like supernatural. But when you see it, it's just like a bird watcher who would identify a bird from nowhere and in the thickets of bushes, and it's to me that's supernatural. It's almost miraculous, and it almost same with my mom. It happens very naturally, but yeah, I mean, it's palpable that it's something is really cool. But even though it happens naturally, it's almost supernatural. Um, but yeah, so those are some tips I can impart if you want to improve your memory. Just keep detailed notes, track your activity, whatever you face it you want to improve. You want to be a good geologist or a zoologist. If you keep detailed notes and study notes, it's going to definitely beef up your memory. And when the time push comes to shove, when the time will come, you will be able to dazzle everyone, and by as if you rattling out all this information out of nowhere, as if you really have photographic memory. So you have to put in the work. But and I mean, and she doesn't do anything extra. I mean, she doesn't like take extra notes. It just whenever she needs to go to make a doctor's appointment or other appointment, she just writes it down on the calendar, and that's it. And probably for some reason that organizes her memory automatically. And the price, yeah. So the price, she for some reason people might think she's stingy or something, but I mean because she get to the detail, like, oh, I don't know, potatoes, 1.99 a pound or something like that. Like she would know it, and like of all the items, and people would think like she is too obsessive about for saving pennies, but it's not that. It just sticks to her mind for some reason. I think it's pretty cool. I love her for that, and I'm allowed for that, but it's beautiful. I wish I had it, and it's so natural, especially with the dates. Like, I mean, um. Yeah, well, honest. Uh, and there has to be some sort of motivation. Like if she comes in my room, and if I ask her what happened on, I don't know, August 28, 2001 or something, she may not actually cooperate. But suppose we go to again, some I guess I don't know, some chiropractor ask her when was the last time you had a tetanus shot, and she would know. She would either just dial in. She's hone in to like a missile. She would zoom in to that specific date. So there has to be a certain kind of motivation for it to work. So, and that's also paramount in memory improvement in general. I mean, for me, I remember all the details. I think my auditory memory is pretty high, and like for instance, today in my shower, I was thinking of. But anyways, like I tend to remember, and this is good for trivia, but it only works if you actually studied those materials. So that's why I'm good at trivia, because I remember, like especially in Jeopardy or other show, Millionaire. I remember when these triggers, these keywords, these key facts come up. Oh, I can remember distinctly. I remember, like, when was the first time I heard that, or like for instance, okay, I'll give an example. Like when I didn't get a paycheck for when my former employee was jipping me, and it wasn't giving me overtime. I went to a lawyer, and lawyer at one stage, and I said, okay, but then he said, okay, you have no case because you have no proof. And then I said, again, I don't remember nothing, but only the certain phrase I remember with accuracy. So it's not I have photographic memory, but and he was saying, and then I was saying, what about the other people he's jipping constantly on a day-to-day basis? And he was saying, what do you care? And that was the first time I had that sentiment, like, what do I care if someone is doing injustice to other people? But and if for some reason it stuck in my head indelibly, that notion, that sentiment. So it's kind of like, it also has to do with emotion. So whenever someone has emotional impact on you, and I'm a kind of a really very emotional sensitive person, and so certain things which affects me or not hurt me, but so etches a mark on me, in my mind and heart, that tends to stay with me. So for me, being sensitive is actually a good thing. And so with the trivia, so like I don't know, some random shit like fucking Rana Day. I don't know where I heard about it. Because I saw the frog there's a frog toy, not a toy, like a glass frog in front of my desk, and I know it's the species family's Ranidae, but I just know it. I don't know where I heard it first, but I mean, because the reason why I know it, because and any other thing like ALU, arithmetical logical unit, and it also means alu means potato in Bangla. And I remember distinctly saying to one of my aunt in a house like about, I don't know, 25, 30 years ago, oh, ALU is arithmetical logical unit, and it also means alu, potato. And I remember saying to her when at the dinner table, and when I was eating the potato, because and at the same concurrently I was learning about computer science. So, but I remember all these fragments of phrases, like they're floated around in my head. But I don't think I have photographic memory. It's not like I read a book and I can recall it verbatim or anything. But I will remember like those different, like suppose there was weird words like, I don't know. Probably the only word idiosyncrasy was mentioned only one time, and it was in the corner of page something. So I wouldn't know necessarily that it was on page 16, but I would know that where it was located. So like on which page, at what section, middle or corner, and right corner, left hand corner. So weird things like that. So I don't know if and I'm sure the people who has HSAM, highly superior autobiographical memory, they exercise their thing, because it's a upward cycle. It's like the rich gets richer. Like the more they exercise, and the more they strengthen, and the more robust their memory becomes. And yeah, but I don't have any like photographic memory. Like I saw one thing, like a Coke can, and I turn away and I know how many milliliters it was. But if I pay attention and if I study it, I'll recall it more. And I don't use mnemonics or any other party tricks, but it's more natural. And it helps in trivia, because like I don't know, and again, it's hard to test yourself. Like yeah, it's yeah, like, but and it's pivotal. It's contingent upon the keywords. So Like, I don't know. I cannot recall the entire movie, Mission Impossible 2, but I remember when John Woo was being asked, the when Tandy Newton and Tom Cruise was met, and there was and she was wearing this red dress like a Spanish flamenco dancer, and there was this, and I remember distinctly him saying, "Oh, he because he wanted to incorporate, not incorporate, that's not my word, like he wanted to allude to West Side Story." So all these little details and nuanced details, it sticks in my head, and when it comes to trivia, and if I can, it pops up at the right time. That's why I'm not saying I'm extraordinary at Jeopardy or anything. And like Sparkle, it helps, but Sparkle is a trivia website, but it helps. But again, you have to know it for it to work. But if I know it, it will come up at the right time, and sometimes intuitively. Like I mean, like right now, all of a sudden, I thought of Darius, and Xerxes, and Paladin, and the Battle of Salamis. All these somehow, I thought of for no reason, and I think I thought of Paladin, and I don't even know why I thought of Paladin. It's like it almost arises out of vacuum for no reason, and if there is a trigger word or keyword, it helps further. Like if someone were to ask me some specific question, and again I cannot test myself, so a specific question that would have a keyword and trigger word, and that would activate it. So, but yeah, and but I don't consciously review or take notes, detailed notes, or do mnemonics. So going back to my mom, after all, it's about her. Yeah, so I think the more, and again, the her number, the ability to memorize phone numbers atrophied because of being reliant on phone. So again, as much natural ability she had, it is wearing out because she's not using it, and for some reason the number sticks to her, and like she's like in Bangla we call her hishabi, meaning it's not a bad thing. It means someone who is very conservative, economical. That's what it really means, and so which means like you're particular about your prices, and you're an organized, like a book accountant, like an accountant, bookkeeper, and so she has that sort of component sitting in her head, and which helps her with numbers, and but I don't know if she was good in history, and she also cannot memorize poems. Like it's not like she reads it once or twice. Like Samuel L. Jackson, he can read a script just 3 times and he'll know it by heart because he practiced that aspect over and over again. Even Mariam Bialik, talk about bad memory. Yeah, Mariam Bialik of Big Bang Theory. Even she also has the tendency because she's been practicing script memorizing for so long, and it became second nature. Just like the chess players who remembers the board, but they cannot remember different setting on chess boards. And even Peak, the author of Peak, Anders Anderson, like he uses mnemonics and people can train themselves to remember 80 digits in a minute, and they use mnemonics for it. But I don't think they'll be able to translate that activity to other memorization fields. Like I don't think they'll be able to memorize 80 like 80 cards shuffled and randomly in like 3 or 4 decks or anything because they didn't practice that aspect. It's like whatever you practice, it grows. Whatever you focus, it grows. So I wish my mom was here to give her a live demonstration to give a live demonstration, but I don't think it'll be possible. But yeah, I mean it's pretty amazing if you take my word for it. Like how, I mean, like how she knows like all these different dates and but again she may not know other numbers. But another way to improve your memory is what I call the Kyle XY method. There was a TV show, ABC Family Show, it's called Kyle XY, and also the Navy SEAL Mark Devine of SEAL Feed blog. He talked about it. It's basically you at evening you just like you take a first person run through of your day's events and you recall in a videographic fashion. You rewind the day, you rewind the clock, you rewind the day's events, and as if you're the first person, like a video game, you run through it like you're in your mind's eye with a video camera, you run through the event. And also the Kyle XY, who had photographic memory and a fictional character in the movie, also could recall everything with in a videographic fashion. Like he would literally, and we all have that ability. LeBron has that ability, and we all can train that. Like, okay, what was I doing 10 minutes ago? And you were, and it's very easy. Okay, I was there. I drank the Coke. I talked about the Coke can, and I talked about the Coke can. ও ডেমনস্ট্রেশন দিবা একটা ডেমনস্ট্রেশন হ্যাঁ এই যে এনেকে শোনা যায় যাতে আচ্ছা হ্যাঁ তা আমার হেল্প হবে কিন্তু July 9th 1999 what were you doing
1999.
July 9th
July 9, 1999.
they cannot hear you
1999 এখানে জুলাই
July 9th 1999 what were
আমাদের বিয়ের বাসায় ওই যে ফাকুদের বাসা নিচে জুলাইয়ের 6 তারিখে
no 1999
হ্যাঁ 1999 এর 6 তারিখে জুলাইয়ের ফাকুদের বাসা নিচে
oh
6 তারিখে মনে হয় রান্না বাড়া কিছু একটা করতেছে
okay again she wasn't specific but she said we took I thought we were in Bangladesh but we were not no
1999 আমরা তো
okay okay but it's still pretty amazing because it's the July 1999 so it's been what 10 so that's like 20 years ago right 20 years ago
yeah
wow so she remembers memories and she said we were in Parkwood village apartment so I thought we were in Bangladesh because even I don't know where what I was doing in 1999 so she said we were in Parkwood village we took the house I mean apartment and she didn't dial in specifically and she was saying I was doing some cooking but and that's again if you were to ask me what I had for breakfast again yesterday I wouldn't know and so for some reason she knows specifically like July 9 1999 she was in we were taking the apartment in Parkwood village and again that's and I'm sure if there was some other motivation external motivation she would actually more I could get more I could get her to cough off more like so like and this again so happy Mother's Day mom I wish you all the best and I hope all the you find but your life is filled with abundance gratitude joy love peace and harmony thank you